All right, hello again, everybody. This is Bob, and this time, as you can see, we'll be doing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons issue number 3, but even better, this is going to be done in 4K. Just got a new camera, so we're going to test that out on this and have some fun. But before we do, let me just remind everyone that I'm a comic book artist and I'm looking to grow my channel in order to get my name out there. This is my character Ghost Girl. I am currently working on the first issue of this book, which should be completed within the next month or two, at which time I will probably do a Kickstarter in order to get funds to publish the book. So if it's something you might be interested in, please subscribe so that way you can stay up to date on any new information that comes out about the book. And without further ado, let's go into Advanced Dungeons and Dragons number 3. Okay, one of my favorite books of all time, drawn by Jan Duursema. All right, so if you remember from last issue, the party was captured by a group of bounty hunters because of the character of Azra, who used to be a gladiator in the Manshaka arena as a slave. So they were apparently hired to bring her back, and they found her amongst everyone else. And the only one who escaped was Agravar, who had just gotten a set of giant strength gauntlets. And he finally got his strength back because his arms were hit by a staff of withering. And he had lost all his strength and then pretty much became an alcoholic because of it. But he saw them getting captured. And as we can see here, he's up in this tree and making it says chirrup, which I'm guessing is supposed to be a bird chirp, because Vajra says it's either a bird the size of an ogre or it's Agravar. Okay, so she is aware that he's going to be jumping down and rescuing them, which is exactly what happens here. As you can see, toppled the cage, releasing Vajra. We have Timoth here. I'm not seeing the rest of the party in this picture, but I think this is a pretty good splash page here. We've got a lot of stuff going on, and this is one of my favorite centaurs. I just think everything about this is just awesome. Okay, so Agravar knocks off one of the bounty hunters, and now we see Onyx the Invincible fighting somebody, tossing him from the horse and getting the key that will release everybody. The weird thing with this coloring, as you can see, is not the coloring of Timoth, but you know, sometimes that kind of mistake tends to happen or whatever. I like Vajra's outfit, the like chainmail half shirt or whatever. I'd never seen that before, but of course it guards the sword arm. I don't know what you would do with the other arm or whatever, but I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a cool design. Okay, but you can see Vajra dispatches another one of the bounty hunters, and they tie everybody up and leave them in a tree as they go on for their quest. Then we go back to the castle with the bad guy here, Mgig and his partner Kilili, who is a dark elf. And he's kind of explaining to her that they're looking for the girl who will glow like the moon in order to help him open this gem and release his followers into this realm. Okay, just so we get a little recap of like what's going on there and what's supposed to be happening. And it looks like Kilili here turns a spider into a butterfly, catches it, and is about to eat it, but then it gets away. So I don't know. That's a wild thing. You know, I guess to show like what she is. Later on, we're at Saloon's Smile, the tavern, and we have the tavern owner Luna. Now, if you remember from last issue, there was a guy and a kid with like cat eyes who were running through what looks like a desert when they get set upon by wolves, and then they get beamed like right in front of her inn. So she had taken them in, and she's putting the child to bed and starts telling him a bedtime story, which the bedtime story is actually the story of the moon goddess, Saloon, um, how she wanted to do like her own thing and not, follow her father's rules and such. So she borrowed a wand from her father. I say borrowed here in quotes, and left the castle and came across this guy that she like immediately became infatuated with. Okay, um, and then falling in love with this guy, he talked her into using that wand in order to open a gateway to the realm that they're in now. And once they got into that realm, he transformed into Mgigzu. Uh, when that happened, um, the a young mage passing by on horseback heard her cries because she's about to be attacked by it, right, and dashed to her rescue. Now she ended up using this gem, Saloon's Eye, in order to capture this person and all of his followers. So this is Mgigzu, and they trapped them inside of that gem, and apparently that also used up. So they're trapped inside the gem, and the gem was given to this person, which is Agravar's father. Okay, um, and then when the child falls asleep, uh, somebody is in the darkness here saying, "You weave a skillful tale, innkeeper." The lad sounds asleep, and the innkeeper, of course, being Luna, it's like, "Oh, Connor, it's you lurking in the shadows," and she's talking about how it's a story usually told about the gods and such, and Connor is pointing out that it was never quite so poignantly told as this time. Saloon, goddess of the moon, sad tale, but a classic. Apparently, what happened was, it's as she says right here, that by using that magic to capture those evil beings into that gem, she caused herself to age by millennia, and thus sacrificed her immortal youth. Okay, so that would mean that Saloon, the goddess, would look much older, which, as we can see here, would also look like Luna, and probably why she's so sad telling the tale. Then we cut to our party again as Cibriana is helping anyone who may be injured. And she starts telling the story of how she learned the healing arts, okay? And she says that she actually came by them intuitively through the blood of her father, who was a young mage who was seduced by a wicked mother. Now, it's not being said who was, it's saying that the father was a mage, and then the wicked mother was just a wicked mother, is all that's, but the mother apparently left after she was born, and she left the baby with this person who knew shamanistic powers in order, to teach healing and such. But she was born with a black mark on her that began to grow and started like sucking away her life. So the shamans came together and did a ritual that released the darkness from the Cibriana as a child. But that darkness became something else. It was another part of her, and it ended up becoming what she calls her dark half, or her twin sister, which we also know is Kalili, because we kind of found that out last issue as well, but we weren't told the full story, okay? But then she starts talking about how when she's using the magic, it's turning her into crystal. So she's actually looking for her sister in order to see if that is something that will, cure her. But she starts talking about how her father, she doesn't know anything about him, but she does know that he used to carry around a magical gemstone known as Saloon's Eye. And Agravar is like, then that mage was my father, which would make them siblings, okay? And of course, right at that moment, they start hearing this buzz or whatever from these enemies called the Casmi. They're not enemies I've ever had in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to have to look up their information, or even if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, I'm not sure. Um, but that's their name right there. Is it Chasme? Is it Chase Me? Is it Casme? I don't know. Chasm, I don't know. Um, we'll see. But here's Timoth pulling out his dual-bladed sword, and this is the only time I think we see this in the comics. Is that his sword's apparently magical, and the blades come out because you can see how long these blades are. There's no way they can be put into the handle of the sword, so it just must be some kind of magical weapon that does that. But they begin fighting the creatures. Okay, and then of course, those creatures were chasing two women here, and it looks like Cibriana is guarding and protecting those two women from the creatures, and she says that, no matter what, she'll use her magic, even if it turns her heart to crystal, in order to protect those women. And she casts magic missile at one of them. Now, when this happens, Mgig here can see exactly who it is, because this gem starts to glow brightly, and he's like, finally, we found the one, so you need to go get her, okay? So later on, when the party is camping and everyone's asleep, Cibriana is awoken by this person who is telling her, I'm your sister. And it is Kilili, okay, partners with Mgig. And then she's like, if you want to cure yourself of this crystal curse and everything, then follow me. And she disappears into the mist. And then Cibriana, everybody apparently wakes up, and Cibriana is telling them what happened and saying that she wanted her to follow her or whatever. This Kilili transports back to the evil lair, if you will, and tells Mgig. And of course, Mgig was watching in the gem as to what was happening. And it's again telling them that if we acquire this person, she's exactly what they need in order to open this gem and release his monsters. Okay, so they start going through the mist in the direction that Kilili had gone, and you can see here that Cibriana is actually glowing and helping them, kind of light their way or whatever. When they come across this tower that we saw in the beginning of the last issue, where some soldiers were attacked by the gargoyles that are atop this thing. So they're talking about the gargoyles up there when Timoth says, those might be just regular gargoyles, but not the ones coming up from behind us and attacking. So here we go, where everybody's getting grabbed off of their horses and going into the air by the gargoyles, except for Timoth, which I think is too big. The gargoyles aren't able to grab him and take him up into the air. So everyone is fighting the gargoyles while they're in the air. And of course, she attacks this gargoyle with magic missile, and she begins falling. So they had taken her pretty far up, and if she, falls all the way or whatever, she's going to die. But Kilili was at the top of this tower and has a ring of telekinesis. So she ends up saving Cibriana because, of course, they need her in order to open up the jewel. Okay? So Mgig takes Cibriana through a secret passage down the stairs into the tower. And we see Agravar here, and Agravar is attacking this gargoyle with a sword, but it's not really causing any damage. So he says, if he were to give it a nice kick, it should get the gargoyle to release the grasp. I'm not sure. I believe that if your sword can't do damage, I'm not sure what a kick can possibly do. But he's also like, with a little luck, I'll drop on top of this tower instead of, being dropped to the earth and dying. So of course he does land right where the secret door is, and the secret door begins to shut again, and he throws himself in between, realizing that he's about to get crushed because he can't stop it. Vajra and Onyx see this happening, and they do what they need to do to get free of the gargoyles and jump down to help Agravar. So now they're holding the door open when Vajra's like, on a count of three, we're going to just all three drop down into this hole and let the door shut behind us, which they do. And then they see Mgig and Kilili about to go through a portal that Mgig open up into a stone wall. Because I find it funny because it's just the spell is stone wall open to let us pass. And then right after they go through that, he's like, stone wall, seal thyself shut. Okay, simple spells, I guess, but when they ran over to go through the wall, the door had shut in time. Now they're trapped in this citadel, which begins to topple. And as we can see here, that's the end of the issue, and it's to be continued in the next issue, which is Great Awakening. Okay. So again, this is just one of my most favorite things of all time. I loved Kilili. I love Sibriana. I love what's going to happen later on down the road with these two characters. I'm a huge fan of Vajra, Onyx, and Timoth. I think they're just a great team. Here we have the character sheet for Onyx the Invincible and the one for M-Gig Zoo. Again, in case you wanted to use these characters in a D&D campaign, you had the information right here. I thought that was an awesome addition to do at the end of these comics here, right? And then that's it. So, that was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons #3, and again, my first video done in 4K. So I'm hoping this looks much prettier for everybody on there and shows a lot more detail. So again, my name's Bob. Please like the video. It will help me grow my channel. And if you were interested in seeing more videos from me, hit subscribe. All right, guys, thank you. Until next time.